The story of Jesus' death is central to Christian belief and is recounted in the New Testament Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Here's a brief overview of the events. After spending time teaching and healing, Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane by Roman soldiers, led by Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples who betrayed him. The religious leaders of the time, the Pharisees and chief priests, had been plotting to kill Jesus. Seeing his growing influence, Jesus was taken before the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council, where he was falsely accused of blasphemy for claiming to be the Son of God. He was then handed over to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, because the Jewish leaders did not have the authority to execute someone. Pilate, though he found no guilt in Jesus, yielded to the pressure of the crowd, who demanded Jesus' crucifixion. He was flogged and mocked by Roman soldiers, who placed a crown of thorns on his head and a purple robe around his shoulders, mocking him as King of the Jews. Jesus was forced to carry his cross to the site of his execution, Golgotha, outside Jerusalem. Along the way he collapsed, and a man named Simon of Cyrene was compelled to carry the cross for him. At Golgotha, Jesus was nailed to the cross, a method of execution used by the Romans for criminals. The inscription above him read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews," and he was crucified between two criminals. During the hours on the cross, Jesus spoke several phrases, including asking God to forgive those who were crucifying him. At one point, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" expressing a moment of anguish as he felt the weight of the world's sin. After 6 hours, Jesus finally died. At that moment, the temple veil, which separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the temple, was torn into from top to bottom, symbolizing the new access to God that his death would bring. An earthquake occurred, and some tombs were opened, with some of the dead being resurrected.